It's January 18th, 2015, and we want to know, will Midnighter be updating his image by adopting the internet catchphrase meme of DAT ASS?
Did 50 Sue opt out of adopting her own Uncle Jesse because the last thing she wanted was to have mercy?
All this and more is coming up next. It's Season 2, Ep 15 of DCR, starting now.
We rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the DCR. I, of course, remain your host, Sean Lamont, comic book reader extraordinaire. And joining me, just the one person this week. All of our women folk are dead, pretty much.
Kelly was attacked by a bear, that also had the flu.
Yes. Just ironies on top of ironies. You survive the bear mauling, catch the flu from it. But I am joined by Mr. Brian Glein. Hello, sir.
Hey, Sean.
How are you this evening, other than a carrier plague beast?
No, I'm fine. I have an immune system.
But what are we going to do here today?
We're going to review everything that happened this past week in the DC Comics New 52 line.
Wow, very good. But which ones? Which books? Like the ones that were released this week?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Like from this Wednesday?
This previous Wednesday, yes.
That's magical. That's a great idea for a show. I'm so happy someone decided to do that.
Yes.
But as such, if you do not want your book spoiled, because we will be covering all the plot beats, storylines, character developments, etc., you may not want to listen ahead. Honestly, if you don't want spoils, you probably really don't want to listen ahead, because that's basically what we do. We're going to kind of skip along a little quickly this week, because we're kind of cramming this one in due to all of the plagued people running around, and the child care is quite a issue for this week. So we are going to skip over questions and just jump forward into this week's books. Leading the charge!
Gallivant?
No.
Okay.
We're starting off with World's Finest, number 30. Again, just like last week, I'm trying to get the spotlight on some of these books that we've been burying in the back half for a little while.
Not like there was ever any reason why we were burying World's Finest in the back half.
If you don't have something nice to say, you don't say anything at all.
I didn't. I said nothing.
But this book has gone through a bit of a metamorphosis recently. It used to follow the adventures of Power Girl and Huntress when they were lost.
As they ate at various patisseries around the world.
Yes, and all of the delicacies contained within. But recently we've switched over to the past of Earth 2. We're following the Batman and Superman of Earth 2.
Not enough Batman and Superman books, so I'm glad they're finally doing this.
I actually was laughing because the covers now have Superman, Batman, and then in small script, World's Finest. But we've been following them, basically, and their adventures before they died in the first issue of Earth 2. Before they died for the first time in the first issue of Earth 2.
Comics.
So Earth 2 years ago, we're basically following the Helena Wayne on her first adventure. We know her as Huntress. She is now the Robin of Earth 2 to her Bat Dad and her Cat Mom, because it's Batman and Catwoman of Earth 2's daughter. And as they're going out to do their thing, they're trying to track down these people that are basically doing human trafficking, and they accidentally stumble into a trap where there's a bunch of guys with machine guns about to shoot them, but luckily Bat Dad comes to save the day. And basically beats everyone up, but then all of them pull out like these little pieces of tech, like these little smartphones essentially, and then all the soldiers just explode. Like, what the hell? They killed themselves. Why would they do that? That's strange, but Batman still has...
Did Warren Ellis write this comic?
No, he did not.
Okay.
No, he did not.
People are using smartphones as a weapon.
Kind of. It'll make sense a little bit later.
All right.
It's seeding something for the future. So, let's move on elsewhere. Where in Smallville, meteors have crashed down into Smallville, of course. Actually, there to pick them up is Terry Sloan. We call him Mr. Horrific. But he is a Mr. Terrific of Earth 2.
No? He's from another Earth.
Well, on Earth 2, they call him Mr. Terrific. We found out over time that he is from some other plane, and he's basically trying to wheel and deal to save whichever Earth he's from by sacrificing Earth 2 to Apocalypse. But while he's on Earth 2, they call him Mr. Terrific there.
It's one of the few things I know about Earth 2.
Yeah, see? That's actually a great plot device, too, though, as far as having a character from a different Earth there to sabotage all of the stuff going on that plane to save their own. Basically tripping them so that the Apocalypse cheetah eats Earth 2 instead of their Earth. Well, he has shown up to pick them all up, and Superman follows the trail of all these meteors down there just in time to see Terry Sloan loading all these boxes up into his helicopter. And he's like, hey, who put you in charge of picking up all the space stuff around here? It's on this farm here, the Kent farm, that I have no relation to whatsoever, but I just happen to know the people that live here, and they would probably want these meteors, I think. So Terry Sloan opens up the door to the helicopter, and inside is Kryptonite.
Is Earth 2 Superman the, Saturday Night Live rock Superman?
Yes, very much so, with the sleeves sticking out. But in this case, when the door is opened, it's Kryptonite in there, and it weakens Superman, which is basically the Klarion call for someone who has been popping
Klarion?
up. No,
that's
not that.
for 2 more issues, buddy.
Okay. That's coming up later.
All right.
It's basically the signal for someone else who's been popping up throughout this run so far. The Apokoliptan recruiting officer by the name of Intree, the lady that keeps popping up and keeps saying, Superman, you have to come back to Apocalypse because you're supposed to be one of Darkseid's soldiers. You know the lady I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, she shows up. She's very much like if you were in high school and you gave any inclination whatsoever to the fact that you might want to join the armed services, and and this recruiting officer will follow you to the ends of the earth to make you sign that piece of paper. That's really what Intree has been so far. She has shown up.
No personal experience in that.
None whatsoever. I had Navy people knocking on my door when I was trying to decide between Navy and Air Force, and they're like, please just sign. Yes, we're going to put you on a submarine, but you'll love it. Everyone loves being on submarines. No, thank you. I'll pass.
Yellow submarine or nothing.
Submarine or nothing.
Yellow submarine or nothing.
Submarine or bust? Close enough, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she shows up and goes, haha, now that you're weakened by kryptonite, I can drag you off to sign my recruitment papers, and basically slings Superman over her shoulder and is about to carry him through the boom tube when Bat Dad shows up again and goes, rah, and knocks Entry back through the portal, saving Superman, because that's what Batman does on Earth 2. He just shows up and saves the day. Every single time someone gets in trouble, Batman shows up and goes, hooah, and saves the day, at least in the past, it seems. While that's going on though, yay, we saved Superman. He runs over to Terry Sloan with that device that he got and he goes, hey, Mr. Terry Sloan, not cool that you're picking up all these meteor things. You best skedaddle and I'm going to turn you into the world army. Also, I found this tech on these troops that were attacking my wife and daughter. It's your tech. If I find out it's you, I'm coming for you, because it turns out Terry Sloan was just trying to keep him busy so that he could wrangle up all this stuff in Smallville. I don't know why he thought Batman would just show up in Smallville, but then Batman just showed up in Smallville. So I guess there was some relevance there, something whatsoever. But anyway, Terry Sloan returns back to his lab, and it turns out it was not kryptonite that he was pulling from those meteors, but it is Val-Zod that he ended up picking up. So it's basically the introduction of Val-Zod and how he ended up in the care of the World Army is what this story kind of sets up. And the really persistent Entry who has shown up in so many points of time across these characters' lives, from being little 5-year-olds up to like teenagers up to full-grown adults.
A 5-year-old didn't want to join the army? Man.
Yeah, I know. I was going to give him an awesome stick with a bunch of glowy circuits on it that I'm sure would have done something.
Yeah.
I'm sure something. It's
kids just don't appreciate Jack Kirby.
It's better than it was. Things are happening.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of running in circles a little bit while they're telling other past stories, i.e. the how Lois Lane ended up getting the red tornado link there with that air elemental that the Greek gods put inside her to hide it because they knew things were going to happen in one of the earlier issues. Then here we're dealing with how Val-Zod got taken in by the World Army. So it's basically, hey, by the way, Apocalypse is trying to recruit Superman, but while that's happening in the forefront, here's how all these other characters got to be where they were at the start of Earth 2. So it's it's well done, I think, as far as world building and getting those things done. It's just very safe. It's very safe right now. So I'm hoping it takes
Come on, convergence, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping it takes a couple risks here moving forward. Anyway, moving on.
All right.
Risk taking.
Green Lantern Corps number 38.
Yeah.
We follow up to Godhead. The Guardians want to put our good buddy John Stewart in charge of the entire Green Lantern Corps after they sent Hal Jordan on quote-unquote sabbatical.
Yes, just go on leave,
Take
Hal
a
Jordan.
paid vacation.
You
Please, Hal Jordan.
Really haven't used any of those out of office days there, Hal Jordan. How about we help you out?
You've got personal
and schedule
days,
them?
you've got sick days, you've got all these vacation days built up.
We don't roll over because it's an intergalactic year. It's not just 365 days.
John Stewart kind of mulls that over, wonders why is it always the people from Earth that get to be in charge of these intergalactic things?
Weird how that works.
Weird,
isn't it?
right? Yeah, so he goes to his rookie's graduation ceremony as they all put on their construction paper graduation hats that they made.
Yay.
Why they didn't just make them with their rings, I don't know, but hey, it's just tradition.
Do they get their little badges pinned on where they have to put the little signal on their chest and then their commanding officer punches them so the pin pierces their skin? Mm-hmm. That's what the military does. Yeah, gotta pin those stripes on.
Wonder why I didn't join. So,
hey, I got a piece of paper. Can you sign it real quick?
Suddenly, out of nowhere, a little spaceship just goes and lands.
That is the weakest spaceship I think I've ever heard.
It looked like it, though. That's what it sounded like in my head as I
It
read
really
it.
did look like two paper plates put together.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. So, and it turns out some people from Fesca's planet. She's the mom lantern. She's
Yes.
doing it for her kids.
yeah.
And they show up looking for lanterns to save their planet. So Fesca wants to go save her kids. So the rookie squad, all right, come on, let's go. They
Real
team-
quick though, not only do they show up, they're like, yeah, we've literally gone to every other option before we came to you guys. We can't afford mercenaries. The other groups won't help because of our alliance with you guys. The Federated Planets won't swing by. We even swung by things that aren't ours. We called the Guardians of the Galaxy. They wouldn't show up.
Yeah. Too
You
popular
guys
now.
are our last choice, but we're here. Please help.
Yep. So the rookie squad and John, they go head out, and he still has the Star Sapphire ring, but shh, don't tell anyone. It's not going to suddenly pop up when you least expect it later.
Did that feel like it was backfilling questions?
It felt like it was just a random picture of John Stewart where he's holding up his ring, and they said, "Color it pink so we can make this plot point."
It just felt a little tacked on because it was just such a plot point, like a major turning plot point.
Yes,
in
like
the Godhead
a
thing.
random character who's like kind of in the background in the corner of the panel is like, "Hey John, do you still have that Star Sapphire ring?" He's like, "Yes, I do." Suddenly this panel's pink.
But I'm just gonna put it in my pocket. Let's move on.
So they go to the planet Xerox, and there are evil space drug dealers working for the shadow market, working for some lady named Ocula, which is more like eye-based than shadow-based, so I was a little confused, but whatever.
Maybe it's obfuscation period. As the shadows fall.
I do love some good obfuscation in my comics.
Obfuscation. Is that Eggfoo's cousin? Obfu? That was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad. Even by my standards. The lanterns get the drop on her, but her henchmen have shadow tentacles or whatever, and even Druck's axe can't cleave them.
No!
And his axe can cleave anything, as he reminded us repeatedly. But that's our Druck. You know, I'm totally cool with that.
Druck.
Then they get overwhelmed by zombie aliens that are super into the 11th Doctor, who keep chanting about what's going to happen when darkness falls.
Why? What's gonna happen when darkness falls?
I don't know. Matt Smith kind of explained it at one point.
Oh,
It was
okay,
kind of vague, though. Wasn't the strongest ending for a season. Also, elsewhere, Von Daggle gets taken to the planet where his partner got lost, so he sends off Hunger Dog and the other lantern that was there because he works alone. Or there's just too many characters in this book to begin with, and he appreciates storytelling economy.
I also appreciate the fact that the quote-unquote villains that were working with the Green Lantern Corps, some of them are still palling around with them.
Yes.
That plot point wasn't just abandoned and they didn't just toss it on a fire somewhere.
Yeah.
So somewhere I'm still hoping we have Bullfunga the Unrelenting, not relenting to anything.
Yes,
somewhere
he's not relenting
out in the cosmos.
Yes, he is not relenting, leaving the well, whatever.
Yeah, they're like, Bullfunga, get out of the core. No, I will not relent.
So Von Daggle, he blends in with the local demon monsters and heads off to find his old partner.
Fair enough.
I bet you she's gonna have something to do with the shadow market.
You think so?
I
did like the end panel of this, that last page, where it's Fesca talking to her son, and he's like, no, you don't understand, there's monsters out there. And they're like, there's no such thing as monsters. And he's like, they're in the shadows. And you just see all little chick monster faces sticking out of all the shadows.
Yes,
around
like
the window.
outside his window, like literally surrounding his window. That was a really nice piece of artwork.
It really was. I thought that was a great ending cap where you're just like, ooh, creepy stuff. Again, it was a little bit of a hodgepodge of art with this one. I think we had a couple different artists doing pencils on it.
Yeah.
But, we don't really mind it that much. So,
no.
It all maintains the same style, except for said Sapphire Lantern.
No, that was all coloring. The artwork looked exactly like everything else.
I know, but it still felt, just as you said, just kind of like, whoop, we'll just put that in there.
Yep.
So next up,
I'm still going, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Are you ready for a bizarre stream of conscious noir style trip into Clarion's pocket?
I lost it on this one, man. I lost it.
Klarion number 4. All right, so the witch busters, the witch cops we were dealing with last issue, have tracked Klarion and Goth Rapunzel to the back alley buddy bot giveaway for children, and Demon Barber Beelzebub shows up to help Klarion get away, and hilariously leave Goth Rapunzel handcuffed and captured with the witch hunters.
But apparently she got a robot buddy dog out of the whole thing.
The buddy dog's kind of hilarious. He just keeps popping up with these like really bland, like, oh look, I'm your best friend kind of comments.
Yes. It was just very weird how the dog was just like, I'm yours now. I didn't like use your DNA or anything, but hey, I'm here anyway.
Yeah, so the dog chews through her cuffs. Maybe he got some skin cells when he chewed through the cuffs. I don't know. I'm giving too much credit here. So she can get into their getaway portal that they go drive through. Oh, yes, here's my thing that the buddy dog said. Your hair is friendly and helpful.
Yes. It was very Doug from Up. It was very Doug.
So they take Demon Barber Beelzebub's bitchin' Camaro into Clarion's pocket dimension, and he's got a dimension in his pocket.
Hey,
he just does.
What? Just cuz.
And tries to sway him over to his Demon Barber lifestyle. And,
which is... What's so evil about being a demon barber here?
I don't know. He's very appreciative of Clarion's fade, so, you know. Yeah. And, like, something in the pocket dimension, like his old familiar Teakle, who they keep mentioning being dead and haven't really explained much about it yet.
He's just in a jar.
Yeah.
That's all we know is he's another cat in a bag.
And he's like, hey, my cat's kind of here in this pocket dimension. Is that weird? And we get the great line that Beelzebub is familiar with familiars.
Yes.
Just forget about them. They'll hold you down.
Ugh.
I thought that was great. Yeah, he's just like so like old, like ditch the skirt, Amscray on the Moody Museum 23 skidoo, Klarion. And meanwhile, Klarion, he's listening to all this stuff and he's like, Beelzebub, your words are kind of toxic. They're like daggers. Your real weapon is your tongue, isn't it? No. Demon Barber Beelzebub.
No.
Is that what you cut people's hair with? Your sharp tongue that's like a dagger? Demon Barber Beelzebub introduces Klarion to Swag.
Sure.
No relation to Swagger.
No,
none whatsoever.
None.
Who can pull tech from the future to now with his magic.
Wait, does the Justin Bieber clone we meet in Batgirl later know anything about Swag? Because
I bet you he does.
It could really match some things up here.
You're going to need this tech from the future if you're going to fight Cole. It's like, am I going to fight Cole? I just kind of showed up to a back alley buddy bot giveaway. I'm not for children. I'm not quite sure who this person is, but I guess I'm fighting him now. So, you know, whatever.
But we get to check in with Cole too.
Well, we don't only for like a panel. I was kind of sad.
But that was the best panel of this entire issue. Are you at that part yet? Can I go into this, or do I need to wait?
Not quite yet.
Okay, I'll wait then.
Yeah, so then Goth Rapunzel, she finally makes her way in after following them into the pocket dimension. And it's like, oh man, of all the gin joints in my pocket, you had to come into this one. Mind you, it's the only one, but still, dames, I tell ya.
He needs, what's his name? Batman's Matches Malone in there with him.
So back in New York, Piper and Noah have decided to stop having sex and look for their students, and buddy bots have already begun replacing the local constabulary?
Somehow, within like a half an hour.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess these have perfectly assimilated into our culture. Oh, well.
And there's alcoholics that are using them to quit drinking. I'm sorry.
So people just love these helpful, little, tiny, human-sized robots. Well, we've looked for about 5 minutes, so back to the sex?
Why
Capital
not?
idea! Another buddy bot is a pink elephant, and he won't let his owner drink. He's a terrible buddy bot that's trying to make him not be an alcoholic.
Because he's trying to help him. I am your buddy bot.
Yes, it had no relation to anything else in the book except for the fact that it was a buddy bot, and it was it seemed pro-alcoholism. That was what really confused me there.
Where the robot's like, hey, I'm going to take away your free will, and it's like, you're supposed to feel bad for the guy because we're allowed to drink and kill ourselves?
Yes, I don't know. So, back at the sex, Piper and Noah are suddenly confronted by Officer Lush Moody, the witch buster, who is Noah's daughter, but not Piper's daughter.
No. You would think they would have so many kids, what with all the sex magic?
Right? And she's talking about what happened to Klarion and Goth Rapunzel with the demon barber Beelzebub. Like, oh no, not demon barber Beelzebub. He's the dirty uncle from hell.
Quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. So Officer Moody opens the portal back up that has something to do with the soup that Noah made last issue, but it's also related to Clarion's pocket?
Sure.
Okay. So they go after the kids while Rasp and his buddy bot girlfriend go off to make him more into a robot himself at the Pit of Ultimate Darkness. Now you may talk about
the Pit of Ultimate Darkness, where Cole and what is the other guy's name? Necrot, the most evil people on the face of the planet. Like, don't touch it. It's pure evil. That's what these people are like. Mm-hmm. Just half cyborg robot spikes sticking out all over the place, are sitting there with their masks off, actually talking to themselves like, hey, weren't we taking over the world?
Yep.
Maybe later. I think we're still waiting for the buddy boss to take over while they play PlayStation the entire time. And it's basically a page of them going, yep, we're trying to take over the world, but we're really far
all the way
level.
over there.
They are the most mundane supervillains.
I love when they were talking about their boring dad last issue. I kind of love them. They're kind of my favorite.
They're kind of the saving grace of this whole thing.
Yes.
And while we're looking at them, we see four-eyed Detective Moody. Nothing's going to get past her 4 eyes of detection with freaking Rasp and his body
doing
bot.
like the Fred Flintstone creep sneak out the back. So Piper and Noah, they go through the portal, they show up, and Noah starts pounding on Beelzebub. That's all men do. Pound each other.
I know.
Just all guys are always pounding each other.
I know.
So much pounding.
Thank goodness all this dialogue is so snappy.
Yep. So Goth, Rapunzel, and Klarion have their first relationship fight 3 hours into the relationship, and it will tear their love apart forever, Sean.
I did kind of like that.
So Klarion only does the only sensible thing and eats some of Swag's buddy bots of the future, not to be confused with the Dippin' Dots of the future, which he also had readily available.
Well,
because
it was the choice between the two.
Yep.
Huntress and Power Girl showed up, ate all the Dippin' Dots, and he was like, buddy bots it is.
Yeah, and so he starts to maybe summon Teakle back from the dead and might be turning into the Horrigal or something? I don't know. I love my 7 soldiers, Klarion, so maybe that's what this is? I don't know. So it might also involve him killing Goth Rapunzel's robot dog. I don't know, the end.
Well, he rips his eyes out, doesn't he?
No, that was one of his there's a weird scene where he like kind of goes through all the options he can do. So I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. And no matter what I do, I'm kind of screwed, so I'm just going to eat these buddy bots and turn into an even more demonic version of myself.
Fair enough. I forgot that was his option page. So
yes.
The fact that it's Piper telling Swag, oh, you'll never tear them apart. We're giving him something that he's always wanted, a family. I was like, has he even been there one whole night?
I know, right?
I think he crashed the night before was when he got there.
Yeah.
And that morning they introduced the buddy bots to everything. And it's like that afternoon and the buddy bots have taken over the world.
Yeah.
Everyone wants one. They've replaced traffic cops.
Yes. They're giving old school Disney princesses a run for their money and how fast relationships progress. It's great.
So what did you think after putting this one down?
It still kind of works.
This one was kind of a return to form for me.
It was a little bit. It was sort of like that first issue of Katana where I'm like, wow, this is a really interesting concept. And then by like issue 2 or 3, it's just like, oh, what? Why are we talking about bowling for 2 pages? I don't know. But at the same time, it's just still so weird, even though I could make jokes about the glaring, like, jumps in plot continuity and stuff. It's still so bizarre. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Trevor McCarthy really helps too.
Well, yes, Trevor McCarthy really, really helps. It's almost like the absurdist humor that's taken over recently where you're just turning a page and you have anything could be on this next page. Yes. You have no idea what is going to be on that next page. And usually you're not left wanting. You're just like, what is this now? Why are they playing PlayStation talking about maybe tomorrow?
I don't know.
So anyway, I'm gonna stay with the magic theme though, because I also picked up Klarion. Basically this entire first half for me is all Earth 2 related books. I was gonna clump them together, but I was like, we'll just break them up a little bit. Just realize I'm talking Earth 2 the whole time. And Constantine number 21. We're not in anyone's pocket. We're on Earth 2.
Okay.
And it's being utterly
We're still not quite sure where Klarion is either, just to be perfect.
Fair enough. He could be on Earth 2 in a pocket somewhere too. We are in the present day on Earth 2 that is in the process of being utterly annihilated by Apocalypse and his parademon hordes and all of the Furies and everything. Basically, Earth 2 is being destroyed. And John Constantine from Prime Earth has actually run across his Earth 2 counterpart, a nice guy in a band who never picked up magic. All of his friends and loved ones are still alive and with him, and he has promised to try to get them to safety. The problem being, he can't open up a portal back to Prime Earth as long as the Earth 2 Constantine is there. Basically, the spell he would cast would use Constantine as an anchor to take him back to where he's from. And if there's an Earth 2 one as well as a Prime Earth one, anyone that steps in the portal will be ripped in half. Half of you go to Earth 2, half of you will go to Prime Earth. Not very good for the longevity and health of anyone, really. So, as he's standing there, these parademons are ripping through the town. They're getting closer and closer, and he's trying to figure out what he can do. But that's when help shows up, Brian. Dr. Fate swings on by, and he's like, hey, guys. Oh, you're that guy from the other Earth. Why haven't you left yet? Why don't you leave? And then he looks around, he goes, oh, it's because there's 2 of you and you can't open the portal as long as both of you are there. Completely unself-serving. It's not like I would be trying to get myself to safety or anything, but if you took this helmet and put it on your head, Constantine, you could probably open up that portal and get everyone to safety. I mean, surely I won't take over your body and then use you for the rest of the time so that I, Naboo, could be safe. That doesn't sound like anything I would do.
Yeah.
And Constantine kind of sees through the con, and he's running the con of himself, telling everyone that they can't trust the superheroes when they show up, any other magic users. And as these parademons actually break into the building and start ripping people apart, it's just ratcheting up the tension as Constantine's trying to make the decision. Do I kill myself and allow them to leave? Do I just kill the Earth 2 counterpart of me and just make everyone hate me, as well as killing the only probably good fragment of me in the entire multiverse? What do I do? What do I do? And then finally he just comes to a point where he explains it to Earth 2 Constantine and then stabs him through the heart with a knife. And the portal kicks off. But he leaves Dr. Fate behind, who is in a rage that he didn't take him to safety either because he was shielding them from the parademons while he was casting his spell. And the issue ends with basically Constantine being choked out, throttled by the friends and family of Earth 2 Constantine. And as he blacks out, the portals kick off and they get teleported away to somewhere else away from Earth 2. It sounds pretty bland, doesn't it? It sounds kind of like so it's basically a Constantine being a D-bag type thing. It's really, really not. I know a lot of people don't like the new 52 Constantine. As Beth even pointed out, someone wrote an entire dissertation on the problems of new 52 Constantine. It's what it's done here with what Ray Fox has been doing for the last couple issues. It sows enough doubt because we've had such a trying to walk the good guy line, trying to be a superhero Constantine. You don't quite know what he's going to do in a lot of these situations. And it really does ratchet up the tension because we had a replacement Constantine there. He could very well have just stabbed himself. That been his big self-sacrifice. And then we follow Earth 2 Constantine as he picks up all the magic and tries to lead his family and friends to safety. Would have been a pretty safe thing to do if they didn't feel Constantine was really where they wanted it to be, if they wanted to mold it more closer to the show, something like that. You would have that new starting
I don't think they
point.
want to mold it closer to the show.
You know what I mean? It would
That
have
guy
given
that
them a
writes the
fresh
thesis is
starting
like,
point.
hey, we could have the TV Constantine instead of the New 52 Constantine.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a matter of they had a nice refresh point if they wanted to. We're already like 20 plus issues in on Constantine. They could have gone, whoop, here, now we're following this new Constantine. You're basically coming in on the ground level. But because of all that superhero stuff that he's done in the past, he's really suffering with himself as well. All the mental torment of him basically trying to figure out, am I actually as bad a D-bag as the entire multiverse tells me I am? Oh yeah, I guess I am. But it reads really, really well. These last couple issues with the Earth 2 stuff, not because it's Earth 2, but more the moral complexities that he's been getting himself into have been very, very good. Much better than the World's End Constantine we've been seeing, who's just kind of popping around all over the place. So take that for what you will. So moving on. We got another book here. Is it me or is it you?
I believe it's you.
Is it me?
You're doing World's End.
Oh, well, I guess that was a segue then. So yeah, we are still going to stay on Earth 2 then, because we're detailing kind of all the little storylines that are going on as Earth 2 is being destroyed in Earth 2 World's End. Number 15. Where did we leave off last week, Brian?
I have no idea.
Mr. Miracle and Barda, or I'm sorry, not Barda, but Fury and Sandman and Mr. Terrific had detonated the nuclear bombs they had hidden all over Apocalypse.
Okay.
Surely that's the end of Apocalypse, right?
Never going to see it again.
Nope. Well, actually, we start off this one with basically Darkseid standing on his balcony again, laughing as nuclear bombs are blowing off all around him, and he's like, well, that didn't do much, so let's attack Earth,
I
everybody.
love what you've done with the place.
Yes. We needed more fire pits. Thank you.
Yep.
So he's sending Barda and the Parademons down to Earth, probably to London, I would assume, as we just saw in the Constantine issue. Meanwhile, Jimmy Olsen is giving birth. His mother box has finally decided to leave him. It goes, I don't actually belong to you. I belong to another. But I am going to leave you a host of some awesome little powers here. So you enjoy, Jimmy Olsen. You're a super cool kid. Don't turn into a giant turtle anytime soon. Peace out. I'm out of here. And it goes flying off. But it does also show him a vision that Commander Khan had shown to the mother box prior. There is a Ark spaceship, like a Noah's Ark sized spaceship out in deep space orbit, and maybe they can get that to try to get all the people to safety as Apocalypse is taking over Earth 2.
Only was a St. Louis side spaceship.
No, not Arch.
I don't even know I don't even know where I was going with that. I've just got a vision of a big, U flying through the sky with no one on it.
So the
little tiny egg-shaped elevator
I'm cutting
pod.
you off because you're just rambling now.
Mm-hmm.
The mother box heads to Apocalypse, where it finds Mr. Terrific, Sandman, Fury, and Mr. Miracle have survived by using their little floaty shoes to make a force field. If a fridge can stop it, why can't floaty shoes?
Yeah.
Why not? So they survived the nuclear blast. Also alive, Ted Grant and Dick Grayson, who are strutting around trying to find Dick Grayson's son that he mistakenly handed off to Constantine to keep him safe. And they find the train that they had put the kid on, and it is derailed, and it looks like it's been attacked by parademons. But they find the kid's teddy bear, and by God, they're going to go find that kid. Also, Dick Grayson practically kills a bunch of street thugs because he's angry now.
Yes.
So he's mad. Meanwhile, Flash and Hawkgirl have found the first famine, the Fury of Apocalypse that they had beat earlier, and they figure out that each one of these Furies is the last of their race, and she basically fills them in on who the other ones are. So Flash runs on over to the fight between the Furies and the Avatars of Earth 2 and says, hey everybody, they're the last of their planet. So that one right there, Death, is a Martian. They don't like fire, so make fire over there. And that one's a Tamaranian, and as long as they don't get any ultraviolet light, they lose their powers. So block her from the sun and light.
Put more clothes
stuff
on her.
Yes, strap some bones on her. I don't know, do something like that. But unfortunately, even
That's
though
how you stop ghosts, Sean.
I'm sorry. Even though the Flash has shown up with all of this intelligence, they still get their butts whooped, and it's basically all of the avatars stand there going, "We need the red avatar so we can form Captain Planet. If only the red avatar was here. Oh no, we're going to die. If only we knew where the red avatar was." And that's where we jump to for the ending here, which is down below in one of Dassad's bioengineering labs, where it is Val-Zod, Thomas Wayne Batman, Red Tornado Power Girl, and Superman again, even though he's died a couple times already. It's like a clone version of him, pretty much. And they are just getting their butt whooped by the red aspect that has been brainwashed and powered up by Dassad. And finally, Superman decides he's going to sacrifice himself because his blood is the poison to all of these things, all of these clones and everything. So he plugs himself into the machine, and it kind of pumps his blood and ionizes it, and it breaks the control that the Dassad had over all these clones and everything. But alas, Superman dies.
Oh.
Again. For the third time.
He's the Kenny of Earth 2.
You killed Superman, you bastard. So, yeah, no more Superman again. He really just kind of
Superman,
popped in.
the new Lay's flavored chip that was voted on as kryptonite.
Sorry there,
no!
Supe.
Oh, there goes number 4.
But his sacrifice freed the Red Avatar, and I guess those guys are going to go help fight off the Furies now, and that's how it ends. Again, it's lost so much of the pizzazz, that je ne sais quoi.
The joie de vivre.
The what?
The joie de vivre.
No, the je ne sais quoi. That's what it's lost. It's just lost that certain something. That's really it was really big popcorn action. Like, whoa, look at all this stuff happening over here. And there was twists and turns, and now it's just kind of safe. Much like World's Finest was. It's very safe.
Okay.
For the destruction of Earth 2, you should be really having a lot more fun than
just breaking stuff.
Yeah, it almost feels like they're just kind of like, just pushing things over at this point, and it just feels very lax, I guess. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just grumpy this week.
Maybe.
That's 2 books in a row I've been grumpy on, so.
Oof.
Constantine was good. I like
Okay.
Constantine.
Right.
So wrap up the hat for us, Brian.
Okay, moving on to the New 52, Futures End, number 37.
I got words.
Okay.
Later.
All right.
I got words.
We're in the far future of 5 years from now.
Oh, you want those words?
Not gonna do it?
5 years in the future.
Okay.
There you go.
So, we start off at the House of Mystery where, Amethyst had just stabbed Constantine with a sword. But it's just an astral projection. Because Constantine has to be everywhere right now.
You wily Constantines.
Yep. And everyone hates Constantine because he used Gem World to trap a bunch of parademons during the big Darkseid War.
Yeah, it wasn't even the fact that he kicked both Amethyst and, what's his name through the first time.
Yeah, Eclipso.
It's
just he keeps, every time he
she
sees her,
forgave him for that.
Yes.
And then he just locked all the parademons in there.
Yep. Like, you're gonna help us this time, Constantine? Do you promise? Yeah. Oh, nope. Yoink. Push under rug.
He's the Lucy of the DC universe. Just constantly pulling that football away whenever Amethyst goes to kick it.
Yep. He tells him, hey, you know what? I'm just here to help you out because what's wrong with Frankenstein? What you're gonna have to do to fix him is take him back to Castle Frankenstein.
Ooh.
Frankenstein.
Which, oh man, that freaking sneak panel for next week.
I will get there. So at the Watchtower, Jason Rush is telling Madison Payne how to rig the JLA's teleporters like Dr. Yamakaze's so they can split themselves apart again and fail miserably, while Dr. Polaris, the former Dr. Yamakaze, is trying to get the Justice League's attention by destroying Metropolis. So Masked Superman and Bad Enough Dude to Save the President Stormguard
Bad dude
show up to fight him. In Nevada, 50 Sue had just summoned a gigantic vault full of DNA onto the top of a skyscraper, which then proceeds to fall through about 100 floors of skyscraper to the ground below.
That character has won me over so
I
much.
know.
So much.
Yes. Mercy then proceeds to walk up to her, puts her hand on her shoulder, and kills her. She's got rogue powers, I guess?
Yeah, and it seemed like it took a little time, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 50 Sue's playing dead.
Yeah, she puts her hand on her, and then Sue's like, okay, thanks for touching me, and then, does like this wacky, like, Looney Tunes fall over flop on her face.
She learned from the ultra deadly Deathstroke foe of Possum.
Yes.
Exactly how to deal with that situation.
50 Sue's dead now. Voodoo says she had nothing to do with it since she was going to help kill 50 Sue. And then Grifters, Lana, and 50 Sue all suddenly disappear. Whoops. Yep.
Hopefully they got teleported back to the actual timeline. The real timeline.
Oh, if only. If anyone can do it, it's 50 Sue.
Yep.
So, in New York, people are lining up for U-Spheres weeks in advance. Woo.
That's pretty exciting.
Apple allegories.
Yeah, woo.
Yeah, in Smallville,
Sorry, Future Zen. Some of your storylines really just aren't hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, so in Smallville, Brainiac is coming and there are spookums hiding in the corn. At the Wounded Duck, Batman Beyond and Plastique are enjoying their after night delight on the roof of the Wounded Duck.
Their post-coital milkshake.
When former Red Robin Tim Drake, who as we all know has been living under the name Toblerone Abernathy, shows up and he gets extremely upset that his bar has been condemned after he left like 3 hours ago and throws a bit of a hissy fit.
That was so good because he's just, I can't deal with this. How did this even happen?
Yeah, so, this interrupts our lovers up on the roof when Batman Beyond rolls his eyes, says, "So much for the afterglow," and swoops down to confront Toblerone while Plastique wonders how the hell Everclear survived 35 years from now. And regular Batman throws down his binoculars in frustration. It's like, oh, we were getting the good part. The other good part. And then Joker Bat shows up and there's gonna be a fight.
And it looked like Batman swooped over to where they were, doing their business too, because he was standing up on top of the bar then like, oh no. I assume he was getting, DNA.
Yes.
Of this other Batman to see who he is for real
Yes.
this time.
Yeah. And so next week, Princess Amethyst learns that her no-nonsense solutions just don't hold water in a complex world of jet-powered apes and time travel. Yes!
That goddamn steampunk Gorilla Grodd, it looks like, who has taken over Castle Frankenstein as his castle. Come on! How am I not intrigued by that just one panel?
Maybe it's the Nazi gorilla from Dr. 13.
Could be.
Oh man.
Could be.
I would just roll over and just wallow in my own enjoyment with that. I don't know. Don't even know what I was going for with that.
I don't know, but there are some storylines that hit so hard with me in this title right now.
And then there's some where it's just like, remember this?
Remember the U-Sphere? Yeah, I remember it. Okay, we were just reminding you. Cool, thanks. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Very
now.
similar to Steve Jobs. Okay, onward.
Hey, remember he's talking to someone in space? That'll be important later.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know. Yeah, we remember that. Thanks. No, I am the parts that are hitting. I think it's great for a weekly book. I know that's following the same format of 52, where they had the maybe 7, 8 storylines going on in tangent.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be if you could find a hook at least for yourself in there somewhere, it's just you get frustrated when they go off to one of the ones that you're really not following whatsoever.
Steel Infinity Inc. Oh.
So
go back to the Space Dolphins.
So I can understand how some people aren't digging it as much as we are, but those little vignettes that I'm hooking onto, I really am hooking onto it. So let's wrap it up this half. Brian, what do you have coming up for round 2?
I've got Batgirl, Justice League United, and Superman Wonder Woman.
And I got Batman Eternal number 41, all about that base Grayson number 6. And I'll wrap it up with a little new Suicide Squad number 6 as well. So hold on a couple seconds. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go through those books.
I'm back in Liverpool and everything seems the same, but I worked something out last night that changed this little boy's brain. A small piece of advice that took 22 years in the making. I will break it for you now. Please learn from my mistakes. Please learn from my mistake. Let's dance the Joy Division and celebrate the irony. Everything is going wrong, but we're so happy. Let's dance the Joy Division and raise our glass to the ceiling, cause this could all go so wrong, but we're just so happy. Yeah, we're so happy.
Okay.
And we're back.
Oh, God.
I almost lost it.
I know.
What's going on?
I almost got in there before you. Almost. We are in the Bat half of the show, so of course we're going to start off with a little
I'm
Batman.
slipping in my old age.
No, you're not. You need to slip more. We're going to start off with Batman Eternal number 41, our Batman Weekly, detailing the utter destruction of everything that Batman holds dear, and of course zero Batman in this particular issue. He doesn't even show up, not once.
Wow.
I know, I was actually kind of happy to see that. I like when they go and focus on some of the other
How
stuff.
are the artists going to sell the pages from this book?
Well, we do start off with Stephanie Brown, aka Spoiler.
Okay, that's how they'll do it.
Yep,
Okay.
who is running across the rooftops when she runs across another hitman. She assumes there to kill her, like all the other hitmen she's run across.
That's what they do.
And
It's in their definition.
I assume the library has a great workout regimen somewhere that she's been holed up in, because she's just going to attack this hitman head on and take him on, this teenage girl that donned a cloak and said, I'm a superhero now and is good with computers.
Free internet, the Dewey Decimal System, Krav Maga classes, you know.
It's on Tuesday nights at 7.
Yeah.
Everyone shows up for the Krav Maga. But she goes running up like, haha, you're never going to kill me. And this dude's just staring at her like, okay, teenage girl. I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to actually take you in. And she goes, oh, well, you're not here to kill me. And he goes, punch right in her face and drops her. It's like, okay, well, that kind of makes more sense for you, lady with no training whatsoever. And it turns out he's probably working for Catwoman and is hauling her into, because remember, she went to go look for her last issue. The rest of this issue, we deal with one group of people, and that is Harper Row and Red Robin, aka Tim Drake, as he is known.
Toblerone Abernathy?
No, Tim Drake.
Okay.
Who are chasing down
Before he becomes Toblerone Abernathy.
all of the kids with glowy eyes. Because they're not Leviathan.
Oh, boo.
I know. Hopes up, hopes dashed in one issue. But it's the nanobots. You remember that we're taking over the kids earlier? So,
are they buddy bots?
No, they are not buddy bots. Instant crossover right there, just cut short. These nanobots that all of the kids that were infected with them went into a coma, and now they've all become active and have started wandering off to this one warehouse somewhere, and they've traced them back to there. So Red Robin goes, well, we better call in some backup, but Batman's still out of town. He's on that ski trip with the Riddler. So, who do we got in town? And he calls up Red Hood and Batgirl. And Red Hood shows up and goes, oh, so you called, you want me to shoot a bunch of kids in the face? Okay, I'm here. And he's like, no, that is literally the furthest thing from what I was asking you to do. And there is this scene, this little panel where the smirk of Red Hood shows up through his helmet, like the helmet itself is smirking at him. It's so much smarm coming out of Red Hood that
he's literally affecting the physical being of things around him.
Which was really cool, I thought. So, anyway, they show up and they're gonna go in and bust this whole thing up and find out what's going on. But they tell Harper to stay back because you didn't choose this life. You're not a superhero. Stay back and just monitor the signals for us and let us know what's going on. They all bust in and just start punching out all the kids and find that there's a giant radio tower being built, as well as all these other little nanobots are being manufactured. And it turns out, who do you think is behind this little scheme, Brian?
I do not know.
The Mad Hatter.
Oh,
he
my
is
God.
upgraded. He is no longer just using hats. He's got nanobots that he's going to use to mind control
Do the
everyone.
nanobots wear tiny hats?
He might. Actually, that would be so cool. Just little top-hatted nanobots floating around all of...
Jaunty, dandy nanobots. I would sign up for that.
I'm here to
Forget
take
all
over
this
your
Alice
mind.
garbage.
Oh, jaunty nanobots, you're our best buddies ever. Your hair is so silky and helpful. So anyway, they bust in, but all the nanobots are in the air, and Mad Hatter ends up taking over Red Hood, Batgirl, and Red Robin, leaving poor Harper Row all by herself. They tell her to escape, and she does. So since no one else is in town still, she goes back, has a little costume making montage of making her Bluebird costume as she enters the scene, and she goes strutting out the door. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me. And she's going to go save her friends and be a bat person. Not that she's been trying to be a bat person for, 3 years now?
Yeah, really.
It kind of sold short a little bit, the whole I didn't choose this life, it chose me. No, you actively
trying
pursued this
very
life
hard.
really, really hard. Batman even
Some
had
would
to
say you've
threaten
been
you.
pushed. Some would say you've been being pushed on us very deliberately for quite some time.
Batman punched you in the face and said, go home, because you kept trying to break your way into this whole superhero thing. You kind of chose it a little bit, at least.
Yeah.
Other than that, I do like to focus on the other characters. After this post-convergence thing with all these books being canceled, I'm hoping we're gonna see weeklies, just main books for the families, like a Superman weekly, a Batman weekly, a Green Lantern weekly.
A lot of weeklies, man.
I know, but if you think about it, this book has been doing a great job of being the through line for the Bat family. Like, Batgirl shows up with her new costume in this one. It feels so much more interconnected with what's going on.
I was actually going to ask if she's shown up in her new costume.
Yeah, because Red Hood was like, nice jacket, copycat, because he was sporting the leather jacket first. So, so I mean, it feels...
Eternal Red Hood is just the best, right?
He really is. He's... The thing that I really hope is what it is he's very quippy. He's very, like, light on his feet. He's very, like, kind of funny, just always joking around. And I am really kind of feeling like he's filling the role of the lighthearted guy for everyone else, because they've lost so much recently between Damian and Dick Grayson. And because remember, they think he's dead as well. So it feels almost like he's there as, like, the big brother trying to make everything, okay, guys, we're still in this, right? We're still having fun, aren't we? So it's not being telegraphed as such, but I'm hoping that's kind of the way he's kind of fitting into the whole thing, because that would be a good fit for Red Hood as that outsider, but still he kind of cares about all the people, but can't show it whatsoever. I got serrated knives.
He acts like he doesn't care, but he does.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a tropey thing, but still it fits that character, I think, where he's coming from and why he would even be hanging around with them whatsoever. So, but yeah, I'm probably one of the few people hoping there's the weekly through lines.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them. Maybe they'll just do Green Lantern and Batman next and have those as through lines. Green Lantern, it's easy to do with the books they've canceled. We've already had a weekly just across multiple titles. Hopefully it'll just be a little more conjoined.
I just want to see new weird stuff and less stuff with the characters we already know about.
But
I know if it's the side characters, it's a little bit different, but
that's a lot of the thing, though. These weeklies, you're basically subsidizing all of your odd little characters. You're like with Batman Eternal, people, 90,000 people bought an issue of Spectre and Batwing running around having adventures.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, no one's gonna buy that book if it's Spectre and Batwing adventures.
Yeah,
I mean,
I understand.
You're getting those characters a much bigger audience by having them in these weekly titles and going, hey, you like Batman, here's people he pals around with. Maybe you like one of them as well. I just feel, instead of the events where it's 3-panel, hey, have we told you about Batwing? And he just kind of pops up and goes, hey guys, I'm Batwing. And then they move on to something else real quick. You don't really have any time to develop the characters whatsoever or really have any attachment to them. So, I don't know, maybe I'm coming at it because we're already buying all the books.
Yeah.
It's a different thing for me, so I'll just bite my tongue. But for me, I think it would work very well. So moving on.
Moving on to Batgirl 38. Batgirl is conquering all of the socials media.
Wow.
BuzzFeed Joey wants a piece of this. So the kids, with a Z, love her, but her friends are thinking she's getting a little bit too...
I've got no legs. It's from a movie.
Okay.
Called Kids.
Oh, okay. Oh, God, that thing. I've only heard about it, and I want nothing to do with it. Her friends are thinking that she's getting a little bit too big of a head about it. Black Canary storms off and joins Ashes on Sunday as their new lead singer because Dinah saw that Cliff Chang girl band picture and decided that needed to be an actual thing.
Yes! Hopefully we get some Black Canary redemption, because she's had a rough go of it since the New 52.
If we just want to make her a Scott Pilgrim character, I am A-okay with that.
I'm kind of cool with that too, but yeah. I'm hoping they give her a little something, because right now she's kind of been the Queen Biatch in
if they want to make her the Dazzler of the DC universe, I'm totally cool with that. So, Barbara has started dating Hunky Officer Liam after a Hook kept pestering him to date her. But he hates Batgirl. She's taking the law into her own hands. He earned his uniform. He also knows a lot of personal information about her that she doesn't remember telling him.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that it's not like we've shown that people are manipulating all of the social media in Burnside.
No.
And yet Hook just kept pestering them both to get together. So surely nothing's going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah. So she also sees not Justin Bieber getting off the hook for vehicular manslaughter on account of his habitual need to Tokyo drift all over the place.
You finally got your Tokyo Drift stuff after all of your references to it before.
Oh, there's some Tokyo drifting. So she decides to prove Hunky Officer Liam wrong that she can be a positive force in Burnside by challenging not Justin Bieber to a Tokyo Drift race.
A drunken Tokyo Drift race.
So she chases not Justin Bieber in his bitchin' Mirror XR4Ti.
There's a lot of bitchin' cars in your books this week.
Yep. And saves a bunch of people from him by using her gadgets, and then covers him in cushion foam as he crashes into a hip 1940s diner. Hunky Officer Liam shows up, and Batgirl's all like, look, I'm helping! I just destroyed this entire classic landmark of Burnside.
Which apparently is like the diner for all of Burnside, as we'll find out later.
Yeah. He's just like, no, I'm here to arrest you, Batgirl. Oh no, I'm going to throw down a smoke bomb and leave. Good thing you didn't see my face, because we've been mashing face and it'd be very obvious with this tiny little mask I'm wearing.
All of the hickeys on my neck here.
Yeah. Yep. At her next date with Hunky Officer Liam, he gripes about Batgirl getting away. He should have thrown a rock at her.
Oh.
Yeah. And accidentally brings up her brother. It's like, wait, I told you about him? And then he just suddenly has to go use the bathroom. And
that one, she was like, I know I didn't bring up my homicidal brother. Not on the second date, at least.
Yeah.
That's a third date thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming home with me after the third date, you probably should know about my homicidal brother.
So he goes to the bathroom. His phone goes off. He just left it at the table. And it's her. It's Barbara on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so she picks up the phone, and it's her saying she wants to tell Hunky Officer Liam all of her secrets. Ooh.
So someone else is pretending to be Batgirl as well?
Yep. Well, so the person that told Dagger Type he had a patron that was telling him.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So this is the person that's pulling the strings.
The strings, they say.
Yes. And also there's a thing with her needing to present her thesis that I'm still not totally grasping, but the hunky Professor OldHunk is super sad about her going on dates with someone else. Brownie
Hunky
face.
Professor McOldHunk. The 30-year-old guy.
Just Professor OldHunk, yes.
The 30-year-old guy is Professor OldHunk.
With all these hip kids running around, he seems ancient.
I guess.
Hunky Officer Liam is like 26. He's already pushing it.
I know. But on the CW, he could play a 14-year-old.
He could. He really could. I could be the ball. You just run with it. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. It's very fun and light, but the whole thing with Barbara deciding she was going to help out by having a street race with the guy.
Yeah.
Do you think she's having like some sort of, I don't know, break or something?
Midlife crisis in her early
quarter
20s.
life crisis, I guess they're calling them now, or whatever they are. Because that is so not Batgirl whatsoever as far as, oh, well, I will just put all of these citizens in danger so that I can prove I am a helpful person to the city.
She saved all those people in extremely dangerous ways, that's all.
She almost ran over a pedestrian. The fruit stands have been destroyed throughout
all those panes of glass that were being carried by those guys. So the random chicken coops that they just have laying on.
I know. Oh, man.
It's that urban farming, you know.
Yeah, well, they tried. It is all the rage with the hipster kids. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It just felt a little off with this one. But when it skips away from that and it deals more with the characters themselves, I really have a lot of fun with this title. So, I can't fault, maybe something they want to try with down the line. Maybe they're seeding something. I don't have the whole story, so I can't comment on it just yet. It just didn't feel quite right to me right there in that particular scene with not Justin Bieber.
And I just love the fact that even though it's super cartoony, even the background characters look like real people.
Yes.
Like, it's not just the same generic t-shirt and jeans that everyone seems to wear in the background of so many other comic books.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has a distinct fat. It's like, I can't imagine how much work goes into that.
No, it's obviously the artwork is handled with a lot of care. So, it oozes that style, as we've said before. So, moving on. I'm gonna ramble for a while because I have Grayson number 6.
All right, I'm just gonna put my feet up.
Yeah, I've made no secret whatsoever how much I love this book, and I just want to share my love of it with you, Brian.
Okay.
I want to share my love of it with you, and maybe some other people if they happen to be listening in. So,
forget about them.
Grayson and Helena Bertinelli are going after another one of the Paragon organs, one of those weird cybernetic organs that grants the power of superheroes. That
Are they on the Oregon Trail?
They are on the Oregon Trail, but
USA.
First page of this issue. Two things. They are raiding this prison island from the first issue of Blackhawks and mentioned that Mother Machine, the person they were fighting in Blackhawks, had left a whole bunch of these Neobot things all over the place, these little nanosites. So gotta be careful, there's nanosites. We're referencing Blackhawks in this.
Man.
I know. Deep dive right off the bat. And then
they mentioned Blackhawks and Red Hood and the Outlaws at one point, didn't they?
Yeah.
Man.
I'm telling you, it has legs, man. It has legs. And it's not the only thing that has legs, because Aquaman, I understand, is very busy. He's been chasing after his mom. He's gone to Gorilla City.
Yeah.
He's running all over the place, hanging out with Martian Manhunter. I understand. You're busy, but a plague has risen in the DCU because he's not keeping the killer whales in check, Brian.
Oh, no.
Who have been infected with nanocytes and grown spider scorpion legs of metal and have come up on land to attack Grayson and Bertinelli.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Goddamn orcas, man.
How am I not reading this? Okay.
So that's page 1. Right there. They get away from the spider orcas. Grayson's able to kick it off the cliff back into the ocean below. And he goes, ha ha, I just freed you, Willie, and makes all these little pop culture references.
It's the worst joke.
I know, it's really bad. But they end up making it up on land where they find they got there too late. This group that had taken the organ, this organization called AWOL, have all been killed except for one. There's one guy at the bottom of this pile of dead bodies, and they're going to dig him out. And as Grayson is pulling him out, he bends over to pull him out, and we see hiding behind a Stormwatch dimensional door, just kind of watching out, they can't see him, is Midnighter, all he can see are two agents of Spiral picking people up and rifling through stuff. And as soon as Grayson bends over, he goes, I can't see your faces, but I know DAT ASS anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Dick Grayson. I have to ask you this, Brian.
Yeah.
Has Grayson always been such an overt sex symbol in the DCU? Because the amount of comments I see in the books themselves, I'm not even talking on the Reddits and the internets and the stuff like that. The amount of comments that everyone around him seems to make are ridiculous.
I think that they are finally running with what people have been going for a long time. I think they're just saying, you know what? Everyone thinks he's a hunk. He's every to the fact
superhero
fan's boyfriend, hey, let's go for it.
To the point that Midnighter's hiding around the corner going, DAT ASS! At this point. So, anyhow, as I said, before we started, I asked if Brian had read any of my books, if he had flipped through any of them. He's like, no, I didn't. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have fun explaining. So, elsewhere, Mr. Minos, the leader of Spiral, the quote-unquote leader of Spiral.
Is he still wearing an awesome sweater?
He is, his little sweater vest and his little smart guy glasses and everything. He is talking to the true power behind Spiral, these three people that have hypnosed themselves that are so powerful that they do not even know who each other are. They don't remember each other when they're not together. Kind of a cool little spy organization thing going on there. But they call themselves Spider. They have no memories. No one can perceive them unless they want them to perceive them. And they're basically asking Mr. Minos how the whole Paragon thing's going, blah, 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 blah. And they see that he's dealing with some sort of painful memory, and they go, hey, by the way, we can remove that memory. We have the whole Hypnos thing. We've offered it before. It's still on the table. And Mr. Minos refuses to release this painful memory because it's the last thing that holds him back to who he used to be. So Mr. Minos has a little bit more to him than just goofy sweater vest leader of a killing secret organization. So maybe we'll start digging a little bit more into him. I am kind of curious to see if he is a new character or an old character that has been adopted into this role right here. So I like the intrigue stuff they're doing there. Let's go back to the island, though. Back to the island. Where Bertinelli is hypnos interrogating the last survivor there to try to find out what's going on. And as Grayson's standing watch, basically Midnighter just kind of opens up one of those Stormwatch gates behind him and throws a butterfly net over him and drags him through back into the portal. Where the two of them, basically he drags them back to the God Garden. Do you remember that place that I told you about in issue 2? Midnighter's working on the side with this group of people, or in this case, one person, this place called the God Garden, and it's, trying to capture dangerous technology before it gets into the hands of other people. Right. And since Midnighter was kind of tested on by aliens and whatever and got all that tech stuck in him, he kind of feels, yeah, it probably should be stopped before other people have to suffer through things that I have to. So Midnighter and he and Grayson have this 8-page slobber knocker of them kicking the crap out of each other, where Midnighter saying, as soon as I found out that you were Dick Grayson, I figured out you were Nightwing, because obviously it was released on TV. I've watched all of the videos of you in action. I watched all the videos of you with the Flying Graysons. I know every single move you could possibly make. I'm gonna dominate you here, and they're fighting each other. And Grayson basically goes, okay, but you didn't know I was Robin, and starts doing all the old, like, janky Robin moves on him, and kind of fighting him off, and then he's gonna disable him by using his hypnos, his little eye hypnos things, to kind of stop Midnighter from fighting. But it turns out the God Garden has nano machines in it itself that have uninstalled the hypnos from Grayson and reinstalled them into Midnighter. So now Midnighter has hypnos and he's going to use them against him, but Grayson uses the safe word, I guess, that Bertinelli used against him when he was getting all uppity issues back. When he was telling her that she couldn't kill someone and she said some word that caused pain to go through all of his body and he couldn't fight her at that point. So then she ended up killing the guy. Well, he remembered the word and he says it and it cripples Midnighter and drops him to the ground. He goes whoop, 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 and goes to run away. When we meet the actual leader of the God Garden, this old lady, obviously a hologram of some sort. We see her glitching in some of the panels. So it's not really stated, but we see it happening. So you know she's not actually an old lady. Mm-hmm. And she shows up and goes, hey, by the way, they're going to use that little brain organ, the Paragon organ that they took. It was the cult of Cain, the Fist of Cain. Remember those guys? The really weirdo cult that just want to show, some people just want to watch the world burn. Well, that's what these people want to do.
Okay.
And the brain is kind of a water balloon of emotion that they can fill up with a specific emotion and then lob it in a crowd and it'll disperse that emotion. So they're going to fill it up with rage and then throw it into peace talks and watch everyone kill each other on live TV so they can show people how human beings are just base animals and they suck. So,
man, or they could just do it in a gorilla city and have rage-infested monkeys.
You could.
Actually, that'd be apes.
Yeah. You know. Yeah, let's not go too far here. Yeah. So Grayson goes, well, crap, I better get back there and take care of that. But the person that's in charge of the God Garden goes, well, all these organs were created to kill me. That's why your group has been trying to gather them all. So no, I need you here to protect the God Garden. And it pulls out and the God Garden is like a satellite circling the earth. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen. We're starting to move the storyline along here as far as the overarching storyline. We've been having these little small vignettes and character studies, and the main plot line has been kind of in the background going on, but things have been happening. I mean, obviously we know Bertinelli knows that Grayson is spying and has covered for him already. There's a lot of intrigue and stuff going on, so absolutely adore the book. To start off with just that level of insanity and goofiness, thrown in Midnighter talking about Grayson's ass, and still have enough political intrigue and a bar brawl, essentially.
Yeah.
They're doing a really good job of balancing.
Justifying the existence of Wildstorm characters in the DC universe.
There was an interview that they did, both King and Seeley, and they were talking about why they put Midnighter in as the foil to Grayson, and it really is kind of smart since Midnighter is the analog to Batman, so there is like this almost fatherly, like, not that Midnighter would be a father to him, but it's almost like the same character where he's trying to really break away to his own independence, and still, even when he is dead and off in a different spying agency, this specter of the Bat just haunts him everywhere he goes. And not to mention their power sets between both Grayson being able to read people's muscle movements from all the acrobatics, as well as Midnighter being able to do that in a combat, being 1 nanosecond ahead of the fight all the time. Mm-hmm. So they have their fights of counters all the time, where it's the counter of the counter of the counter. He really is kind of the perfect foil if he wasn't a good guy.
Yeah.
I know he's not the greatest guy. He's kind of a little gray. He's not the all tights and capes and everything, but really kind of a smart first villain to kind of show off your character when you're starting off like this.
Yeah.
So just stepping back, I maybe have said it once or twice. Really good book.
Yeah.
You may want to give it a shot.
Maybe.
But that ass though.
Yes. What am I doing next? Just League United?
Yep, you know it.
All right. So in the future, the Legion of Superheroes are fighting Infinitus and his Infinity Wraiths, and all seems lost. So the rest of the team decides to head back to the past to help the Justice League United. The Legion of Superheroes.
Oh, yay!
So we deal with the Legion of
Superheroes. So we didn't have enough of Legion of Superheroes.
So we get a good half issue of Legion of Superheroes doing stuff with a bunch of characters I don't feel like explaining about here. And they they engage the time bubble and go head off into the past. And if anything, it was cool to see XS. I like XS.
I don't know XS. That's one of the Flash characters, isn't it?
Yes, she's Impulse's cousin.
Okay,
from
gotcha.
The future.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and Matter Eater Lag looking like a BAMF in the background with his glasses and like 80s haircut. He looks awesome.
Oh, I thought you meant like one of Nightcrawler's little demons.
No.
That makes a lot more sense now that I've figured out the
BAMF.
Yes. Now that I figured out what you're saying, I was like, he really didn't look like a little blue demon. I don't know where you're coming from with that.
I don't know much about Matter Eater Lad, but just his name and the way that he looks in like just artwork I see around the internet, I'm like, I want to know more about that guy. Can that guy get his own book?
Can he just come back to the past and hang out for a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that an issue with the whole Legion thing whenever they come back to the present day? There's just so many of them, they just take over any book they're in.
I guess so. I don't know.
I mean, they haven't really shown up in much of the past stuff.
Like
except for books
usually it's just the big three. Every now and then, like when they go to the past, like someone will get left behind, like the whole Legion Lost thing. I think in Final Night there was a character who showed up that was supposed to fulfill a prophecy, but then he didn't.
Because it just seems like it's a faucet that can't be closed once you bring the Legion of Superheroes in.
There's just so
and
many
they just
characters.
all come at that at some
Yeah.
point in the storyline. You're like, oh, okay, you guys have just taken over this book now.
Yep. So they all show up. Martian Manhunter and Bith play Who Do You Love More with Ultra. Come here, boy. Come here. Come here. Who do you love more? And Ultra, who I guess is now like an angsty teenager now, has to see what's on the other side and decides to go with Bith. So Bith takes him, and then Supergirl tries to save him, and like the ship that they're on explodes, collapses, and then Infinitus shows up.
Well, okay. I guess
yeah.
Supergirl failed.
Or Supergirl's Infinitus? I don't know.
No, it was as I said, it was a very Legion heavy. The JLU
If you
had
like the
like
Legion,
4
I bet
panels?
if you like the Legion, I bet this was an awesome book.
I'm being facetious, but it really felt like the JLU just kind of poked their heads up. Like literally they were just swarmed by so many Legionnaires that it was just Martian Manhunter just sticking his head over Lightning Lad like, hey, we're here too!
Yep. Like I saw Green Arrow like floating in the background of Pam like, hey, where's your buddy Animal
Hey
Man?
guy, how's it going?
Where's your quips? Come on. No Adam or Alana Strange? No? Okay.
None of the characters? What
None of
about
the characters I like or buy this book for? Okay.
Mia Bin? Are you around somewhere?
Yeah.
Weren't you having like a romance with this guy?
Yeah, is there like... There's a Hawkman in armor on the cover. I don't seem to recall him showing up at all.
He flew by once.
Okay, he flew by once.
Yeah,
All right.
He was like, hey guys!
Yeah.
It was a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. If you like the Legion, here's a book for you.
Yep.
Right now, if you were looking for the Justice League United, you might need to wait a little bit.
And I'm worried what's going to happen to Mia Bin if someone is not taking proper care of her and she's not even doing much to establish herself from the get-go.
I'm also kind of worried about the others as well from Aquaman.
Yeah.
With their book being canceled, if they're going to be cast off.
Yep.
Because it kind of seems like a lot of those characters in that title are kind of the same thing where they're just like, I don't know, make them evil now or something? Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I was a little sad about this
I'm very
one, though.
sad. Ms. Marvel, she is not.
Yes. So moving on. Newest Suicide Squad number 6. They were having a mission in China. China was making its own metahumans. They were kind of breeding them and gooping them up from clones. And the U.S. government cannot allow that. Oh, no, China, you can't make your own metahumans and superheroes. That would unbalance the entire world platform or something. I don't know. We had these villains laying around and we needed a mission to set them on. So go to China, guys. And and we're kind of dealing with you know what? Let's just get the bureaucracy out of the way first.
The bureaucracy?
The bureaucracy. I stroked out there in the middle of the word. So we're going to talk about Vic Sage, who has gone to the Secretary of Defense and demanded, Amanda Waller does not play well with others. I need to be transferred. I can't work with this lady. She is a complete biatch. And the Defense Secretary is just like, too bad. Grow up, get back in there, do your job. And so he goes to basically cry into his beer, and some guy from a consulting agency shows up, strangely looking a lot like the same guy that was in Russia that went to the leader of the military there and offered him a card, and offers a card for the Pearl Group. I don't know who it is whatsoever. I tried looking them up. I didn't see anything as far as past references. And he hands him a card and says, well, hey, if you don't like dealing with them, give us a call and we'll be happy to give you a hand with the problem you're having. Meanwhile, Amanda Waller is so ticked off that even with Vic Sage not there, this mission has gone pear-shaped as well. So her assistant is like,
who would have thought?
You know what you should do? You should just come down and have lunch with me right now. They're serving pulled pork sandwiches down there. Come on, Amanda Waller. And, yeah, she's just, it's right in the middle of a mission, so I don't know why they're discussing lunch plans right now anyway, while the Suicide Squad's literally in the middle of a firefight. And,
I thought that the pulled pork was being offered in Russia. I'm like, that famous Russian pulled pork.
No, this is back in DC. And, Amanda Waller is basically going, no, I'm just gonna eat a salad. And then she goes, you know what? Screw that. Bring me pulled pork sandwiches.
Come on, Wall. Come back to us.
You get your stress eating, Brian. That was the one thing you asked for, that hopefully she'll just get so frustrated that she just starts shoving pizzas down her throat. It goes back to her old style. There you go. They're giving it to you. So let's check in with China, where Black Manta, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, and Reverse Flash are being overrun by goopy, unfinished clones that Harley Quinn accidentally let loose last issue.
She blamed on Taylor Swift, right?
Of course. Haters are gonna hate. So basically they start yelling at, as they call him.
The song is now in my head. Why did I do that? Why?
They all start yelling at, as they call him, Not Flash or Usain Bolt, Reverse Flash, and say, go put all the bombs everywhere through the building while we fight them off. You better be quick. There's a lot of goopy metahumans running around here. And as he's running around putting up bombs, they just kind of fake gave him his powers back. They're not really back. They just keep yelling at him. Run faster, you idiot. Usain Bolt. Come on, idiot. Oh, you're the worst Flash ever. Oh, not Flash, blah, blah, blah. So he pushes himself as hard as he can until his body gives out. And I'm not talking like he twists his leg or anything. I'm literally talking like his kneecap shoots out of the skin like a bullet across the hallway. It blows his knee out that bad. Ouch.
Yeah.
I just want to say ouch real quick. So as they're about to get overrun, the Man-Bats come in to save the day. The Ninja Man-Bats, to at least cause enough of a distraction.
Red shirt Ninja Man-Bats.
Yep. That, the team is able to basically disperse, place bombs, get, Reverse Flash and pull out. Even the Man-Bats escape. I was surprised. I thought they were really gonna sacrifice them. But as the fight was going on, they accidentally woke up one fully completed metahuman. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be one of the Great 10 yet or what. But as he wakes up, the bombs go off, and he's basically standing there with all of his kin in ashes around him, and he sees the Suicide Squad van tearing off out of there and decides he's going to go get revenge for all of his fallen friends that I guess he never knew, but he knew they were goopy clones too, so yeah. I'm a goopy clone. I better go defend my goopy clone dead friends.
All right.
Art was, I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase this. When I came into this, I'm coming from a background in anime, so I'm quite used to deformed for the sake of expressing emotion. You know, where you're like, okay, I'm going to exaggerate these things so I can really get across, just deform the face, deform the body to show this person's really angry, really happy, or
gigantic sweat dollops on their forehead.
Exactly. I mean, it's a very simple thing. It's shorthand. You're telegraphing emotion so that it stands out, so it doesn't have to do it. There's a lot of deformities in this one that don't seem to be conveying emotion. It doesn't seem like they were choices, I guess you could say. Again,
just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to ever say it's horrible art because it's infinitely better than I am, and it may just be a style thing that it's not clicking with me, but there were a couple panels that just kind of really pulled me out of, for what is essentially an action comic book that you should be kind of like breezing through and just kind of like, yeah, high octane, let's go. You would hit these brick walls, or at least I would, and be like, ah, what is that? Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So, your mileage may vary. It's still my dark horse. It's still my guilty pleasure. It's written by a guy named Sean that spells his name right, so I gotta support the Seans. Sean solidarity. Woot woot.
And I've got to support a lot of Bryans in the industry.
Yeah, but you get like
a lot of Bryans from
Azzarello.
Cleveland too, yeah.
So anyhow, last book of this episode.
All right, Superman Wonder Woman number 15.
Going places I did not expect.
Yeah, so 5 weeks ago, finally after all this 5 in the future, 5 weeks in the past.
5 weeks in the past.
Yep. Some angry young boy was talking to some old crone about how he hates the Justice League for fighting parademons 5 years ago and killing his mom and dad in the fracas.
So basically the beginning of Justice League, like the start of the whole thing when Darkseid attacked and the Justice League came together for the first time.
Yeah, so then the old crone turns into some 90s Hot Topic model.
Woo!
And fuses young David Reed. That's the name I was looking for.
Okay.
So maybe he's still the grandson of Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know.
Okay, that's a much more common name than the one you were giving.
Yes. She fuses David Reed with the fusion stone, because, you know, that's what you do with a fusion stone. You use it to fuse things. And turns him into Wonder Star, which then turns into Magog. Which is kind of
fusion right there.
It almost seems like it sort of interacts with like what the child is, and it almost makes you wonder, because it's like, okay, he's a kid, so his first version of a superhero is Wonder Star, who is like all bright and shiny, and then when you realize, oh wait, that's the first thing you think of as a superhero, but then you realize that he's like a 10 or 12-year-old kid, so suddenly he gets like a glowing eye and a metal arm and a big gun right in front of his crotch. It's like, yeah, look how awesome I am.
This is not compensating for anything, this giant pistol right here in front of my crotch.
Comics aren't just for kids anymore. Blam, blam, blam. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yes.
Yeah, so now we return to Magog, his bicep armband covered in bullets. Yeah, we already made that joke. After he kicks Superman and Wonder Woman's butts, he exists to save the world from them. He throws Superman in a lake, his only weakness.
Yep.
And Wonder Woman comes to and they have a fight. So Wonder Woman goes to end Magog. Superman tries to save all the people. They're the perfect team because they do that. And but they still have their differences. Magog keeps trying to kill people so they can see that Superman and Wonder Woman aren't going to help them, even though they are.
That's kind of a flawed plan right there.
Almost the plan of a 12-year-old, perhaps. And then 90s Hot Topic lady shows up with her animal people, and it's old Wonder Woman villain Cersei.
Yeah!
She's going to team up with Magog to fight them.
That was actually a nice little touch as far as having a commonality enemy.
Yeah.
Because Magog is more Superman, correct? And then Cersei obviously is very Wonder Woman heavy.
Yeah.
So we get a quote-unquote origin team up with the two of them, so yay! Kind of going out there. Something I did notice, though, the Wonder Woman seemed a little bloodthirsty.
A touch. She is the god of war.
Yeah, I know, and they really pointed that out in that panel where she was saying, like, hey, dude, I'm the god of war. I got to kill some. She looks like she's maybe losing some of her compassion, maybe?
Mayhaps.
Maybe to this god of war thing. Maybe there's like a pall that falls over the person, whoever wears that mantle or something, because those eyes were red. I mean, that looked like a not happy person whatsoever, where she's like, I'm the god of war, blah, 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 blah. Very GWAR-ish, but
yes.
still. So I think we're kind of getting some touches and hints because even Superman's like, whoa, lady, I know you trust me and all, but you could at least try to save a human being while you're stabbing things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's fun if you want to go in I enjoyed like digging into the context of why everything was happening.
Yeah.
It is just sort of like a big fight scene.
Yeah.
And has been since Tomasi took over, which is a little odd for him.
Yeah, very
personally.
much so. Well,
But,
at the same time, remember he did the Arkham stuff in Forever Evil too.
Okay, yeah.
The Arkham War.
Oh, yeah,
that,
you're
that
right.
was pretty much a big popcorn bar brawl with Bane just punching
Bane
everyone
not
in the
understanding
face
symbolism, yes.
and breaking people over his knees. So I mean, maybe he's trying his hand at that. I mean, Green Lantern Corps was pretty action packed during his run too.
Okay.
But I mean, at the same time, I think Batman and Robin has made us so appreciate his quieter stuff that I think that's maybe where we're like, hey man, how you doing? You gonna bring some of that over here too?
And like I said, I love his old Black Adam series.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking maybe, he's gonna find his balance here, but again,
Which I
this
think he
book is-
did with Monkey.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
He's that seems to be his team up pretty much since Green Lantern Corps. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. Still high on it? Are you still curious where it's going?
I'm kind of curious to see if they will maybe tie up some of this stuff a little bit neater.
Yeah.
Towards the end. But
I mean, we're only 3 in on the arc, so we're kind of halfway through right now.
I am intrigued with what they're doing with Magog because he's one of my favorite worst characters.
The guy you love to hate.
Yeah. He was built to be that, so
Right? Well, then I guess they did their job. So, but that wraps us up for this week. That was all of our books. But you guys can do us a solid. Do me a solid, bro, and go out there and buy these books. Maybe not these books that we are specifically talking about, just any one of the books that may interest you, because they decide what they're going to sell based off of what you buy. So if you have something that you're like, oh, that sounds intriguing, I might want to read that in a year or two. It won't be there in a year or two if enough of you do not read it. So you have to vote with your wallet. I'm not telling you what to buy.
I will. The new Bad Machinery trade is out.
Well, shut
Love
up.
Bad Machinery.
I will not tell you what to buy because, as we have always said, tastes run different. It's just like TV. There are plenty of shows out there that are not for me. Lizard Lick Towing, not really aimed at my demographic. Maybe aimed at something else. So I don't know. I can't speak for everyone's choices. So if you like it, go out there and buy it and support it. We don't care what publisher. Next week though, we get more books, Brian. It's like it never ends.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever. You'll be on your deathbed going, Superman. Again, kind of light. Not too heavy for us. We get Justice League number 38.
What's happening to Pandora this week?
We continue the Amazovirus.
Stranger, you're
Why
so
do you keep cutting me off? We get Amazovirus, Justice League 38, Earth 2.
Justice League sitting in cots. Woo!
Earth 2 World's End number 16. I guess they're just going to push over the Tower of Pisa this week. Just
Sure.
Cause. New 52 Future's End number 38. Teen Titans number 6 with our new Power Girl joining the team. Speaking of Pandora, Trinity of Sin, number 4. Wonder Woman, number 38, really taking on that God of War look. This is that one where she's got like the blood-spattered armor and sword and wearing War's helmet and all that stuff.
Okay.
So, again, I think we might be going somewhere with this. I think these are not subtle things that she has been such a warmonger of late. Supergirl, number 38, back to space, Hogwarts. Woo. Yeah. Batman Eternal number 42, the team up of Bluebird and Batman for the first time. Batman Superman number 18, where we're dealing with those weird bullets killing people in Korea and stuff. Batman and Robin number 38, with Damian Wayne opening up his shirt as bullets bounce off his chest. Yeah. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 38 as well, where it looks, I don't know what's happening there, but Batwoman number 38, continuing that weird stuff going on there. And last but not least, Green Lantern New Guardians number 38. So a couple titles that I look forward to each time. These ones are coming to a close, some of them, like the Batwoman, the New Guardians, I think that's it of all the ones. Trinity of Sin.
Yeah.
And then we're not too far away from all the weeklies coming to their close too. So I guess we're going to start wrapping up some storylines as we get closer to March.
Yep.
So I'm kind of curious. I'll be able to actually take a long view run and say, hey, that was actually kind of fun. Or Man, that jumped the shark there about 3/4 of the way through. So that's it. That's for next week. Brian, do you have anything before we take off?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, if you want to contact us, you can do so by typing DCR Podcast into things. I trust you guys know how to work the internet. We're DCR Podcast everywhere. Feedback at DCRpodcast.com. So for all of us here, enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, and hopefully we'll have the ladies back next week to celebrate our 100th episode, Brian. Yeah!